Former President Donald Trump challenging 81-year-old President Biden to a cognitive test. But this happened before forgetting his own doctor's name in the process.
I think you should take a cognitive test like I did. I took a cognitive test and I aced it. Dr. Ronnie Johnson, does everyone know Ronnie Johnson, congressman from Texas? He was the White House doctor. And he said I was the healthiest president he feels in history.
Mr. Trump, who turned 78 Friday, was actually referring to Texas Congressman Ronnie Jackson during that speech in Detroit. Less than 5 months until Election Day, Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden's gaffes are raising eyebrows and questions about their mental fitness. Either would be the oldest president in U.S. history at the end of a second term if elected. Dr. Tom Pitts, board-certified neurologist, joins us now, friend of the show. Dr. Pitts, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Nick.
All right. You've seen the news about President Biden's gaffes and former President Trump's mixing up the names of politicians. Is this typical cognitive behavior for men in their late 70s and early 80s, or is this to be expected, or should we as voters be alarmed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all should be alarmed. With 400 million people, this is what we boiled it down to, right? I mean, clearly we see here they both have word-finding difficulties. I feel like Trump is just a couple years behind Biden. I mean, that's how mild cognitive impairment starts. Remember, this cognitive test that he passed was a screening test, and it was done in 2018. And I don't know about America, but if I put dating profile pictures on my app from 2007, I don't know if people would take that to the bank today in 2024.
Well, Dr. Pitts, I do want to talk about the video that we have playing on the screen right now that I'm sure you had an opportunity to see. This is from that fundraiser that Mr. Biden had over the weekend where he says he raised like $30 million. But the thing that people are talking about the most may be this moment where it looks as though Barack Obama has to kind of lead him off the stage because it seems as though Mr. Biden freezes there for a moment. Is this something we should be concerned about?
Absolutely. I mean, in my opinion, I was telling the production team last night, I said, just because my day job is a doctor, I walk in clinic all the time. If I walked in a clinic, some people you can tell they have a migraine just by looking at them. I'd walk in and look at Trump and Biden and go, oh, both of these guys are here for cognitive problems. Neither one of these guys looks cognitive fit. And yes, that is very concerning, freezing on stage like that.
What does the freezing on stage portend? I know that you're not his doctor, but when something like that happens, what is happening and what's the takeaway?
Yeah, he does not have clear seizure-like activity like when McConnell had eye deviation, and it was very momentary. For me, that actually almost looks somewhat Parkinsonian. He doesn't quite have the tremor, but you see rigidity, freezing, uncertainty. Also, there may be some degree of hearing loss where he doesn't hear the cue. Hearing loss, even in children, is often confused for confusion as well. He may not be hearing the cues to leave the stage. So yeah, I mean, I think if you pull 100,000 New Yorkers and say, is that normal? Is that how you want flying your plane? Is that how you want driving your kid's school bus? On either side, Trump or Biden, I think all of us would say no.
Maybe rocking the grandbaby would be okay, but anything beyond that.
Yeah, but we'll keep an eye on you even when we're doing that,
Dr. Pitts, let me ask you this, because Mr. Trump brought up the cognitive test. We've all heard about it. What exactly is it and what's involved in the process?
Yeah, the problem. So I once slam dunked on a Fisher-Price hoop on my 5-year-old nephew. But it's not like I tell people I nailed basketball, right? There has to be some caveat there. MOCA is a bet, which is what he took, the Montreal Cognitive Assessment again in 2018. It's a screening test. It's something very minimal, and it's even in the fine print. If you're kind of above a bachelor's degree or low educated, it really doesn't have a good catchment rate. It's simple stuff. Where are you? What's the year? Trail drawing. What they need, both of them, is an MRI of the brain with and without contrast. Show me, both of you guys, that there's no atrophy. I guarantee there's atrophy just by the word finding, both of them. And then we need to get further testing. For example, MRI of the brain, I would get a nuke scan to look for beta amyloid. It's kind of like an Alzheimer's test. I would also get a spinal tap and show that they have abnormal tau protein. That's how you diagnose somebody. Nick, if you told me you thought you had a broken leg in the ER and I just touch it and say it doesn't feel broken, I haven't ruled anything out. I think we all would agree that's not enough. So we know that the sense, even Dr. Jackson said in 2018, this is a screening test. I mean, those are his words. So, I mean, in 2018, he passed a screening test. Both of these guys sit down, 4-hour neuropsych testing. That's the standard of care. MRI of the brain, possibly spinal fluid check, and beta amyloid uptake test. And then we'll know for sure what's going on.
Dr. Pitts, what about both of them shirtless like RFK Jr. dropping and doing 20 push-ups?
Oh man, you know what? I feel like we've been traumatized enough. It can't get any worse out here, you know? I feel like I could go on the MTA bus out here on the one of the M15s and just find somebody who could do this job, who's more cognitively fit than both of these guys.
Dr.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.